Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. 3,500 XRP will make you a millionaire by 2026. Analyst criticizes unrealistic claims. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so this is one of them times where I have to show you once again the thesis of my channel here, because I feel like this is very relevant to what this guy is saying. So just to quickly show you, I always show you guys this image because I just think it's so relevant, and I think it's just relevant about XRP, and I also think it's relevant about my channel. So you've got this two booths here with these two people trying to give information, and one of the booths says unpleasant truths and it's empty, and then you've got another guy who says, his booth says comforting lies, and his stall is full. Everybody's lining up to hear what he wants to say. And that's because, you know, people, they don't want to hear the truth because the truth is not as entertaining, and it's not as, you know, exciting, right? So you've got here an analyst who's criticizing people making unrealistic claims about 3,500 XRP making you a millionaire by 2026. So I want to get into some of this. So the person in question is Vincent Scott. And so he's criticizing unrealistic XRP projections, arguing that promoters benefit from the resulting engagement while avoiding accountability. So in a recent X post, Scott called out a growing viral tactic among XRP influencers who attract attention by making sensational predictions. This trend typically involves bold claims suggesting that holding a small amount of XRP could magically turn investors into overnight millionaires. Scott pointed to one example in which influencers told their followers that simply holding 3,500 XRP could make them millionaires by February 2nd, 2026. The outrageous 3,500 XRP to millionaire prediction. To emphasize his point, Scott noted that if he made such an exaggerated projection, he would likely rack up millions of likes, 350,000 new followers, and 10,000 subscribers. He stressed that this level of engagement would come easily with no accountability or consequences when the forecast ultimately failed. In this view, the fact that such claims continue to gain traction shows how these tactics can mislead audiences. Scott went on to highlight the discipline required to avoid resorting to these engagement-driven strategies. Choosing integrity, he said, often leads to slower growth compared with influencers who rely on sensationalism and unrealistic promises. Yeah, so look, this is the thing that I wanted to get into. Well, both things, to be honest with you. 3,500 XRP making you a millionaire by the 2nd of February 2026. Well, first and foremost, the thing that I want to say is, why that date? You know, like, what exactly do they believe is going to happen by February the 2nd of 2026 to make people overnight millionaires with XRP? The second is, I completely agree with Scott here, and this is something that I've been saying in regards to my channel. Like, you know, part of the reason why I've not seen the growth of other channels is because I'm just not here doing all of this BS, to be honest with you. So, you know, like, I've seen videos that I've done where I've covered, for example, you know, $10,000 theories and stuff like that. And obviously when you look at the title, it's not clear which way I'm going to go with it. And so when I do those type of videos, I've seen how much my views have spiked up, right? But then obviously when I do cover it, you know, I say how I don't think $10,000 is realistic. Now, let me just make it clear, like, I think XRP is a great asset, and with everything that's coming at the moment, like Ripple getting their banking license and, you know, going over to Solana, you know, we've got regulations coming. It's a top 5 cryptocurrency. I think at the end of the day, like, it's going to be successful in my opinion, but these types of posts that people put out, it's really low. It really is, because you're really preying on vulnerable people who either don't know any better or they want to be given these half truths, right? They want to be given the fantasy, because the fantasy is exciting, right? If you're here being told, hey, you just hold in 3,500 XRP, you'll be a millionaire within the next few months. Who wouldn't want to hear that? That sounds good to anybody, right? And so this is why you have like the echo chamber within the XRP community, where when you get these types of posts, it does get a lot of traction because people want to hear this. This is the kind of stuff they want to hear. The thing for me is, like, for how long these, you know, theories have been going on for, I'm surprised a lot of people ain't put to account at this point, because that is the thing. I've seen so many influencers, and I'm talking like big influencers as well. I'm not even talking like some of these like ones who are just on Twitter/X. I'm talking like big YouTubers who've been making predictions for years now, saying, oh, this year XRP is going to hit this price. Oh, this price is going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen now. I've been seeing this for years. And every time it doesn't hit, yeah, you get some people in the comments who will call them out, and some will maybe like start following them. But for the most part, they don't really lose the traction. You know, like they still continue to just move the goalposts or just make a new, you know, prediction or say some kind of BS reason as to why it didn't hit that target, and then just continue to put out content. And I think it's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Like, it's crazy that people don't see at this point that these people are just misleading you and they're using you to get money. That's literally what they're doing. And so the thing with this, the easiest way that I can put this is something that we've, you know, all heard at some point in time in our lives. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that's the simplest way I can put it. Like, if you start hearing some of these things that just sound outrageously unrealistic, just start to question it. That's all you have to do, because these guys, like, for example, like, you know, putting that date, February 2nd, 2026, I've got no idea why they're saying that. I've literally got no idea what would have been the reason. I really haven't. And to me, like, look, there's nothing wrong with like speculation, right? Like, if I, for example, speculate, hey, I think, you know, within the next few months, XRP should go up in value, that's fine, because I'm not telling you what I think's going to happen in terms of how much it's going to go up. I'm not giving you a definitive time frame, and I can admit that that is just speculation. But when people are saying, hey, you will be a millionaire by this date, and they've got nothing to really back it up, you know, like, if you make it clear, like for me, for example, I don't do predictions, and this is the reason why, because I don't want to mislead my audience. I've got nothing to tell you in terms of why I think, you know, XRP could go up in value. Like, I've got no insider information or anything like that. I'm not working with Ripple, nothing like that, right? So I'm not going to give you guys a prediction, because it's just my prediction. Like, there's nothing to really back it up or anything. It's just what I think's happening and what I think could go on. So I don't bother giving those types of predictions. These people are doing the same thing. They're just throwing things in the air, but because people are watching it and because they like the sound of it, they get caught up. And the biggest problem with this, because this is the thing that I always hear, it's Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin obviously was, you know, what, literally cents at one point, and now it's up to like $100,000. So everybody always says, well, if Bitcoin did it, why can't XRP? Not understanding how the supply works, the difference in terms of how scarce Bitcoin is compared to XRP, that they've got a completely different circulating supply, different market caps, etc. Like, there's different dynamics that play a part in it completely. So people don't fully understand when they're saying that, how like misguided that sounds, but it's just not accurate. So look, at the end of the day, I just wanted to say this because I'm sure there's going to be plenty more of this coming, especially with like some of the good news that's been happening now. There's a lot of like positive things happening around Ripple, and I'm sure they're going to try and put these crazy theories on XRP now. Like, for example, Ripple have got a banking license. So I just want to say to you guys, like, you know, you've just got to be cautious, man, and like question things. And this is even with me, like, and I can say that because I know I don't put anything out that's really like, I don't do any like crazy theories. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll pretty much just present the facts that I have, and then I'll give you my opinion and my perspective. But I don't try and give any type of price prediction. I don't know like when XRP is going to go up in price. I don't know how much it's going to go up in price by, because nobody does, and that's the truth. So when they're telling you like, you know, it's going to go up to this price by this date and all this stuff, they've got no idea. They're just guessing, and they're hoping that you'll buy it, because that way you'll be watching them, you'll be supporting them, and they'll be getting the money from you because of those reasons. And so, yeah, I'm just saying this to you guys to just be cautious, because this is one of the reasons why I started my channel, is because I wanted you guys to have someone out here who's actually giving you like realistic information. Not to say that I'm the only one, I'm not, but there's not that many out here fighting a good fight, and there's not that many out here who are like calling influencers out, which I have done, which has kind of been to my detriment as well. But, you know, I still do it because I don't do this as a business. I don't do YouTube like a career. I'm not looking to be like a big huge YouTuber and this is my job. To be honest with you, I have a job, I have a good career, so I'm happy with what I do. And I'm more reliant on crypto anyway, right? Like for me, if I'm in crypto and I'm comfortable with the cryptos I have, YouTube's not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. So I'm really just doing this to help people have the truth and have an alternative opinion and perspective. But yeah, look, I'll leave it here because I don't want it to seem like I'm just venting. But just a quick one as well. There was someone who said apparently they claimed that was going to become millionaires in October, and that never happened. So that's just an example again of how people can say these things, but then when it doesn't happen, they'll just say, you know, oh, this happened and this happened. As I say again, like, there's nothing wrong with speculation as long as you make it clear it's speculation. As long as you make it clear that, like, you know, this is just my assumption, I could be wrong, and this is what I think will happen. Fair enough, but a lot of these people, the way they talk, they act like this is a matter of fact. And that's the thing that I don't like, because that's the thing where you're misleading people, and people take that in, and people could be new in the crypto space, not seeing these people before, taking that information as gospel, and then they could be buying XRP based on that information, and that could lead to them getting financially ruined, right? Because they might see that it doesn't take up to that price or make the millionaires by that date, and then they could just sell. But it could be that if they'd have held on, you know, they might have still made some profit, but not as much as they would have expected. Or it could have been a thing where they wouldn't have invested as much. So it's like, okay, I'm not a millionaire, but I've still got some, you know, money in this XRP, and I'll just see how it goes long term. Like, it could just make huge differences. So yeah, I really don't like this, and I agree. Like, you know, people need to be held to account with this kind of stuff. I think, you know, if people are straightforward and honest about it, then that's fine. But when people are just doing it directly just to manipulate you and make money out of you, that's the thing that I don't like, and there's a lot of influencers out here who do that. So, as I said before, go with that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and that will get you a long way, because when it comes to the XRP community, there's a lot of people putting stuff out there that just sounds way too good to be true, and it is absolute nonsense. That's why it's garbage. So, hope this has helped, but yeah, stay safe out there, guys. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell. Take care.